Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our regular council meeting. I declare the meeting open at exactly 7 p.m. Um, Councillors and everybody, could we just stand for the national anthem, please?
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath the radiance of the cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who come across the seas with boundless plains to share, with courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Remain standing so that we can have the opening prayer led by Reverend Dr. Matagi Vilikama.
Let us pray. Almighty yet ever gracious God, you are holy, known by many names and beyond all names. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, Spirit of justice. We ask your blessings on all in this meeting who have been called to lead the community which we live and work and play. Help us as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix things, but what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind us, because we all forget sometimes in the noisiness and busyness that passes life, that we are not only leaders, but also servants, and that it is our responsibility to serve the common good of all. Remind us, no matter where we live, everyone is our neighbor, our sibling, and that throughout the ages, prophets have called the leaders of the people to respect and protect the least of those among us, our children, the elderly, the poor, those who are hungry, those who have no homes, those who are ill in body, mind, or spirit, the strangers and immigrants in our midst, those who live on the margins, those who are alone, those who are forgotten. Grant us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May we speak out when it is time to speak out, and listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May we always be guided by your spirit, the spirit of community, the spirit of justice, and the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Councillors and people in the gallery, can we remain standing for acknowledgement to country? I'd like to acknowledge the Bishop people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all the lands, water and sky in the Georges River. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who live, work and meet on these lands. Thank you. Are there any? I don't think that there are any apologies. We do have a request for the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lansbury, to attend the meeting via audio-visual link. Can I have a motion to accept online attendance for Councillor Lansbury?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Moved by Councillor Elmey and seconded by Councillor Symington. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried unanimously. Notice of live streaming of council meeting. Staff and people are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being webcast live on council's website. This recording will be made available on council's website. The order of business is as shown in the agenda. Council's code of meeting practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of council. Disclosures of interest. I do have disclosure from Councillor Marnie, which is a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 096-22, report of the Assets and Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 10th of October 2002. Report of the Georges River Local Traffic Committee Advisory Committee meeting 4th of October 2022 for reasons that he is acquainted with one of the non-voting members of the Georges River Local Traffic Committee. The Traffic Advisory Committee, I have another one from Councillor Marnie, declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item QWN 041-22 Glenlee, 80 Baronia Parade, Laguna, for the reason that he is a member of Friends of Glenlee. As this is a non-significant, non-pecuniary disclosure, Councillor Marnie will remain in the meeting. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Lansbury, declared a non-significant, non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 097-22, a report of the Community and Culture Committee held on the 10th of October 2022. For reasons that her son is a committee member and coach at the Cars Park Football Club, the sub-licensee for the amenities building and clubhouse at Charles Prairie Reserve, and it's non-significant, non-pecuniary interest. Do we have any more declarations of interest? Sorry, Councillor Lou, do you have a further declaration of interest?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I put in the.
Let us know what type of interest it is and why you have that interest.
I need to find the item number. Yeah, I would like to.
Sorry? Oh, okay.
Oh, yes.
Well, we have a
101-22.
we have a declaration. Was that a significant non-pecuniary interest?
It is a significant non-pecuniary
Interest.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Any further declarations of interest? None. All right. Now, thank you, councillors. Public participation on items on the agenda. We have 4 speakers registered for tonight's meeting. I would remind the speakers that speakers have a 3-minute total time limit. The first sound you hear indicates that you have 1 minute remaining. At the second sound, please round off and conclude your comments. The first speaker is Ms. Suzanne Munro, request to waive 711 development contributions for NDIS related dwellings. Suzanne, thank you.
Thank you to the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor and councillors for allowing me to speak tonight on behalf of my family who are here in attendance. The background to understand our situation. David, our son, aged 41, was born with his disability, vision impairment loss, along with developmental delay. He was educated in special settings for his primary and high school years within mainstream schools. As his parents, we've worked tirelessly with schooling, medical and government supports for his 41 years. David has been with the NDIS since its inception. The aforementioned road to independence has led us to seek housing through the NDIS, starting this journey in 2018, looking at both SIL and ILO placements. After 4 years plus, it was decided by the NDIS support person and occupational therapy services that neither placement supported David's stage of development to date. There is a gap of offering suitable housing through the NDIS at this stage. To provide his independence and inclusivity within his community where he wishes to live, we as his parents decided that doing nothing was not an option and we must act now. The decision to refurbish our existing garage was not taken lightly, as we are pensioners on a limited budget for this build. Our planner was meticulous with approved rules to council, and with our plans, engineers, surveyor and council fees totaled $8,055.20. Our plans passed in June 22. Then 1 month later, a demanding letter arrived for a compliance fee of $7,018.99. We were shocked, and it caused much stress for us personally. As rents rise, building costs and shortages of affordable housing, it all seemed insurmountable to us. So we sought the guidance of Mark Coray, the MP, who was extremely supportive in this situation. We waited for a reply for several weeks and it eventually came and it was unfavourable. We then supported support from Councillor Jamieson, giving her our situation and intentions, and we understand our case has gone to the Strategic Plan Department. This has been a stressful, emotive journey for us as a family, and we, even though we have supportive personnel around us, the fee we cannot afford to absorb into our refurbishment, and we're looking to council's assistance through the disability framework to waiver this fee so we can proceed with the build, can continue David's independence skills and support through the NDIS. Thank you for listening and look forward to a favourable outcome with Georges River Council.
Thank you, Ms. Monroe. The next person is Bradley Henniger. It's a report on Assets and Infrastructure Committee meeting on the 10th of October. Report of the Georges River Local Traffic Committee Advisory Meeting. Mr. Henniger, thank you.
Good evening and thank you. I'm here on behalf of the residents of Acacia Street, strongly against the bus stops in the street. The bus in question is a 955, which comes from Waniora Parade into Acacia Street and then exits onto Gunga Bay Road. We've received 3 proposals. I responded on the 20th of March, the 19th of July and the 23rd. On each occasion, my wife has rang the traffic engineer and has been promised a response. To this date, we've had no response from the traffic engineer or the council. On the 7th of May, I received a response back from my local member because I CC'd him into the letter, stating my concerns with the safety of the bus in the street. There was meant to be a swept path for the bus survey to be done for the movability of the bus around the roundabout. To this date, I have not seen anything like that, only to find out off a neighbour on the 11th of October that the bus stop will be formally approved at the next council meeting. This was sent to him by a different traffic engineer, which to his credit, I gave him a call and the engineer did come out to see the residents on the 13th of October, but he had no idea about our concerns, our safety concerns or the concerns of the residents in the street. He did not know about any of the emails and the petition that I organised throughout the street. Then reading the file references, the file notes on the Georges River website, reference number D22/210155. It says, in our opinion, the residents believe the council has been misinformed as they only received 4 responses strongly opposing the bus stop. This is not correct, as there were 9 residents who sent emails opposing the bus stops to 2 separate traffic engineers. And on top of that, there was a petition that I sent on the 26th of July of the residents of Acacia Street strongly against the bus stop. My concern is that there's 2 traffic engineers in one street, and they have not communicated and have not informed the council members correctly about us strongly opposing and against the bus stops in Acacia Street. I know these are factors I carried out the petition in the street, and the residents advised the lack of response from the Georges River Council and the traffic engineers. Not in my words, but the residents' words, was despicable. In conclusion, this is not the 1970s. We don't not respond to people. This is 2022, and the residents of Acacia Street are dissatisfied and disgusted with the lack of response, consultation, transparency from the traffic engineers and the Georges River Council with our safety concerns. As we are held to account when dealing with the council, I can't see that ratepayers have one, and our concerns of the Georges River Council, it just appears that they just don't care. Is in the residents' opinion that the misinformation for the approval should be reconsidered and discussed with the residents.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Henry. The next speaker is Mr. Greg Martin on Rocky Point Road, Clearway. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to speak about traffic access and place improvement, Grand Parade, Kiama to Sans Souci. Thank you to all those councillors who responded to my recent email about this issue. I oppose the greatly extended clearways of Rocky Point Road, Grand Parade and Sandringham Street, as it reduces the amenity of the area for residents and visitors. Different streets get different treatment. Some residents at back streets expect to park their car outside their home in the street all day, every day. Sans Souci residents impacted by these changes will receive a $275 fine and have their vehicle towed away. Well, thanks very much. The present clearway is Monday to Friday morning and evening peak, northbound in the morning, southbound in the afternoon. No weekend clearways. This proposal is a 415%, yes, over 4 times the direction and duration of the present clearways, simultaneously in both directions, leaves residents and visitors, service providers, no alternative street parking except the already clogged side streets. Sans Souci and the impact all along Rocky Point Road, people live. Now they will need to park in their property or in the side street. Well, have you looked? The side streets are already full. The Sans Souci shops, including the post office, will have a fence bordering Rocky Point Road. Really, even when there's no clearway in the evenings, you won't be able to park on Rocky Point Road and walk into the pizza shop or the fish shop. And of course, the post office will be closed because it will be after 7 o'clock. It'll be a case of no clearway now, but no parking anyway. Could I have slide number 1, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Slide number 1 was from the Transport New South Wales community session on the 11th of October. Eventually, Transport New South Wales came and gave us a session, an online session. This is where this graph came from. The heading of each graph is Direction Combined Lanes Weekday Results. The location is between on Rocky Point Road between Russell Avenue and Sandringham Street. The traffic at that point is convergent and divergent, with some traffic going to Ramsgate and some going down Sandringham Street to Brighton, and also in the other direction as well. The graphs show dotted lines, black dotted lines at 1600, which is the reading of 2 lanes of traffic with 800 cars per lane. The piece of road on the northbound in Rocky Point Road at that point has 4 lanes. So why is the threshold set for 2 lanes, and then the clearway time the 4th lane could be used as well? So I'd say the threshold there should be 3200. The maximum number northbound shown on the graphs was 3350, so that's only 150 cars. So for 150 cars, sometime 3 years ago, in 2019, we're going to have to put up with clearways 7 days a week during the daytime. I'll conclude now. Thank you very much. The clearways proposed are much more severe than warranted in the traffic measurements made 3 years ago in December 2019. Please reduce the impact on residents and the business in the Georges River Council area. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Martin and Mr. Martin. The next speaker is Ms. Teresa Cole on QWN 040-22, boarding houses within the Georges River Council local government area. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening. Reading the information from Georges River about boarding houses, approval and inspections and what is required has prompted me to be a little bit more proactive to stand up today here. Because in April this year, I started asking questions about inspection, or more specifically, a permit for a mobile food van. The council had no such information. Initially, I was told that it was private information, personal information, and I could not have access to that sort of information. My concern is that it's a public health issue. But what really started the inquiry in April was that there was a continual smell of cooking meat coming from this particular mobile food van, which is down in Kensington Street. There are no other shops around there that are selling food or cooking food. So I persevered with my inquiry, asking council, what can we do? It took 5 months before council got back to me and said, well, actually now we have a permit for the van. I don't have a copy of that. I don't know if that's valid. I have to accept because somebody rang me. But the best part of the question, the answer was that now we will have to complete compliance for that particular food van. Now, compliance is a different story. It's about, is the facility able to cope with the requirements? Where do I get all my information? I get it from the New South Wales Food Act of 2003. And also, if you go on the website, foodauthority.nsw.gov.au, it gives you the details that need to be inspected. Whilst I have been pursuing just the permit, I have never asked the question, are we actually inspecting food vans that are providing food, whether it's after hours, as happens with this particular van in Kensington Street, or what do we do when we have food festivals in Belgrave Street in Kogarah? I am concerned that what has happened to me in just asking a question about food inspections and permit for a mobile food van does not give me any confidence to go to these sorts.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Councillors, we're now going to confirmation of the minutes of previous meetings. The first one is the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 26th of September 2022. Moved by Councillor Smedley, seconded by Councillor Azrini Ambi Haypaha. Thank you. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Okay, I declare it carried unanimously. We'll now go to confirmation of the minutes of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 26th of September 2022, moved by Councillor Symington, seconded by Councillor Elmere. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. We now go to my mayoral minutes. Not quite a mayoral hour, but just a minute. Let me see if I can find it. You might be left off. Now, councillors, as of today, 5 o'clock, it appears that Councillor Kevin Green, our previous mayor, is no longer a councillor. But I think we need to pay him a tribute. The Honourable Kevin Green has lived in the Georges River area for 57 years. Together, he and his wife, Frances, have raised 6 children. He has demonstrated an enduring dedication to community service and helping others. From his earlier career as a school teacher through to his roles in public office as the elected member of the New South Wales Legislative Assembly from 1999, as the Mayor of Georges River Council from 2017 to 2021, and as a councillor from 2021 to the present. During his mayoral term, Councillor Green led investment in infrastructure to maintain the Georges River area's natural treasures and create a harmonious atmosphere to raise children, including synthetics and sporting hub and sporting amenity buildings, re-establishing native habitats through innovative seawall design along the Cars Park foreshore, reinstating the creek and wetlands, as well as harvesting stormwater for reuse at Gannons Park, creating a range of inclusive playgrounds, sporting and recreational spaces for people of all abilities in Oatney, Mortdale, Penshurst, Hurstville and Cars Park. Councillor Green has led a number of significant ongoing fundraising activities to support medical research and community members in need through his work with the St George District Cricket Club and the Lions Club of Lugano. Councillor Green has been the president of the St George Cricket Club since 2007 and was elected a life member of the club in 2017. He has served on the Board of Cricket New South Wales since September 2012. He has organised numerous fundraising events through the club, which have raised many thousands of dollars for the St George Medical Research Fund, most notably the annual St George Cricket Walk. He has also been heavily involved in the St George Junior and St George Senior Cricket Associations and is patron of the St George District Cricket Association, and has been involved in local sport at grassroots level, having been the coach of his son's cricket team and manager of the football team. I believe now he's also on the board of New South Wales Rugby League. Councillor Green was made the first honorary member of the Lions Club of Lugano for his support of their fundraising activities, including their annual Sports Stars breakfast held at Hurstville Oval, which have raised over 100,000 for charity, as well as the Merrill Golf Day, which raised a cumulative sum in excess of 300,000, and he has been active with Club Central in the dissemination of substantial community grants by the club. Councillor Green has led a number of significant ongoing fundraising activities to support medical research and community members in need through his work with the St George District Cricket Club and the Lions Club Lugano. My motion, Councillor, is that the Council acknowledges the significant contribution made by Councillor Kevin Green, to the community of the Georges River local government, and thank him for his many years of dedicated service. Is there any further discussion on this? I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare carried unanimously. The Rocky Point Road Clearway. I totally agree with Mr. Greg Martin on this one. I think it's abhorrent as to what they're trying to do, but this is Council's Transport for New South Wales proposes the extension of clearway hours on the Grand Parade from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. northbound and 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. southbound to 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. in both directions on weekdays, and amending the location where there is no current clearways to new clearways of 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in both directions on weekends and public holidays. The proposal put forward by Traffic New South Wales highlights changes to the Grand Parade. However, these changes extend onto Rocky Point Road to the Captain Cook Bridge. Council opposes the proposed change on Rocky Point, and for that matter, also on the Grand Parade. They're our neighbours, people that live close to the Grand Parade. Our Georges River people actually go to the Grand Parade for some recreational purposes. They enjoy it, and they find it that with the clearway, they won't be able to park anywhere, especially in the times that they're talking about. The Council opposes the proposed changes on Rocky Point Road and the Grand Parade because new clearways which prioritise cars over foot will have a detrimental impact on local business and the overall livability of the location. Livability of the location. We recommend investigating other congestion busting methods such as cycleways and public transport investment as sustainable alternatives. Council is in support of Traffic New South Wales' future transport strategy vision. The vision highlights maximising the use of our network by reallocating road space to more efficient modes of transport like buses, walking, cycles and micro-mobility devices. It also aims to enhance livability for customers and communities where wider footpaths, cycle lanes, street trees, pedestrian crossings and lower speeds will improve access to nearby shops and services. The proposed clearways are in opposition to this vision. In other words, they're not even sticking to their own visions. The project benefits listed, including reallocating road spaces for wider footpaths, alfresco dining and entertainment. These considerations are not provided on the Georges River Council side of Rocky Point Road or as proposed for the Grand Parade. There is only a plan to change unrestricted parking to time. If no reallocation of road space is planned to create a buffer zone between road traffic and business, there will be a negative impact on businesses. Cases of this have occurred along Forest and Stony Creek Road, Bexley and King George's Road, Beverly Hills. I'm also old enough to remember how they destroyed Canterbury Road. All the shops there died totally once it became an expressway. The proposal only indicates the loss of on-street parking within Georges River local government area with no potential to expand, redesign or provide additional parking spaces for the public or businesses. The presentation provided to council officers showed a traffic volume analysis from 2019. Council would like to see a new study undertaken to capture any changes to behaviour out of COVID pandemic and increasing the hybrid working environment Council have been advised that there are planned upgrade works at the signalised intersection of Rocky Point Road and Russell Avenue and appreciate the project works by Traffic New South Wales, including the upgrade of pram ramps to improve accessible access. But there is no way we, as neighbours to our Bayside Council colleagues, that we can support what's going on both in Bayside at the Grand Parade and also on Rocky Point Road. Maybe it's easier to provide a route, a thoroughfare to God's country, which has been named by some people as God's country, but at this stage, I don't think we can afford to even think about supporting it. So my motion is that Council write to the Transport for New South Wales ministers opposing the access and place improvements along the Grand Parade, Kaimia St. Susie and Rocky Point Road. Is there any further discussion on this? No further discussion. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. Now, we now go on to my, I think, third mayoral minute, seeking confirmation of government funding for Glenlee. I must say, Councillor, that firstly, I'm disappointed in Minister Koori's recent comments describing Council's efforts surrounding Glenlee as lacklustre and lukewarm, especially after all the actions we have taken to recognise and register the heritage significance of the site to protect its cultural and natural elements. These actions are a true credit to our previous Mayor, Councillor Kevin Green, and the previous councillors who provided him with the necessary support, and the current council. On the 21st of September 2022, I met with the state and federal ministers with the aim to secure funding to the purchase Glenlee. At this meeting, both Minister Griffin and Minister Coure already said that the state government has no money to fund the purchase of Glenlee. I outlined to them that the council does not have the funds, nor can we borrow funds to purchase Glenlee. This is because the Office of Local Government requires us to do a business case demonstrating that new commercial activities on the property would pay off. Do business case demonstrating that the new commercial activities on the property would pay off the loan for the purchase. We're a bit hamstrung in trying to even borrow money. Council would also be responsible for the ongoing costs of the infrastructure and its maintenance, such as paths, lighting, parking, and public toilets necessary for public use. Council does not want ratepayers to be hit with an ongoing increase of their rates to fund the purchase and maintenance of Glenlee. It would not be fair for all our ratepayers to cover this cost, as this site has not been identified in our plans as essential for fair and equitable access to open space across our local government area. Peakerswood, which contains the suburb of Lugano, has the highest amount of open space per dwelling in the local government area. Lugano is not an area where the demand for open space is increasing as a result of development or higher densities. Council will not take money from a suburb experiencing significant development to spend in a suburb experiencing far less development with adequate open space. I would also like to reinforce that we cannot use developer contributions to purchase Glenlee. These funds are usually allocated in the areas where demand for open space is increasing due to increasing density and population, where there is a lack of open space, and there has to be a nexus between where the future development has been approved and where the funds are likely to be expended. Like all councils, we rely on state and federal government grants funding to deliver specific projects that have broader community value. This is one of those projects. Councillors, let's be quite clear, and I really want them to send that message. We can't, politicians cannot plead ignorance on this matter. It's about time they realise, and they know that we spend our grants on specific purposes. We don't have a bucket of money. We're given grants to spend on roads, pedestrian pathways, recreational fields, etc., etc. They are specific grants. They don't give us more money to throw at us so that we can, let's buy this and let's buy that and let's do this. And most politicians who have served on this council know that we can't move Section 11 contributions from, say, Cobra North, which has no open space except one park, to Glenlee, Peakers, which has acres of parks. There's no equity in that, and there's no planning principle in that. They know this. But the state government gets the GST. Federal government gets taxes. We get rates. We don't even cover our costs. And the matter has been thrown back to us. Give us the money and we'll do it. Very simple. Simple logic. We don't have it. Nor can we draw it from anywhere else. Nor can we borrow. We can't borrow. Because if we're going to borrow, the Office of Local Government turns around to us and says, hey, where's your business case for this? What commercial income are you going to have from Glenlee? So they're attacking the lowest level of government when the higher levels of government are the ones that should come to the party, including the federal, including the state. So let's not, I don't want to beat around the bush anymore. I'm pretty passionate about this. Yes, I love Glenlee. Yes, I love the property. It's fantastic. And if we had the money and we got surpluses, if we got the GST, if we got the taxes, we would buy it. But they're getting the taxes, they're getting the GST, they buy it. Thank you. Now, my motion, sorry about that, that in light of the Minister Curry's recent public statement that all levels of government need to come to the table with funds to purchase the site. Oh, by the way, I reaffirm my call to Minister Curry to advocate to the state government to find the funding to save Glenlee. That in light of the Minister Curry's recent public statement that all levels of government need to come to the table with funds to purchase the site, Council write to the relevant federal government ministers, state government ministers, including the local member, Minister Curry, to confirm the extent of funding that they will commit to the purchase, restoration and embellishment, maintenance of Glenlee at 80 Boronia Parade Lagoon. I'm saying, you want to come to the table? Come to the table, but come to the table with money. And tell us how many grants you're going to give us to buy it. Anyway, councillors, is there any further discussion on this matter?
Just a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Would you please enlighten me on who the Environment Minister or Public Space Minister is on a federal level?
Sorry?
Or it may be Council Officer will know? Or maybe Councillor Marnie know?
Councillor Marnie, you might want to answer that question. Thank you.
Yeah, I was Tanya Plibersek, Minister for Environment federally. Can also say that Council did write to both federal ministers, Plibersek and Burney, back in August, and just referring to the question of the notice coming up later in the business paper, there's been no response. So I really believe that, I totally agree with you, Mr. Mayor, about Council has got the money to fund it. And it's really sad that such a unique property is the subject of a tug of war between, two different levels of government, because we can't contribute. I acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Councillor Neil.
So, Mr. Mayor, maybe we can include after Federal Government Minister, the Honourable Tanya Plibersek, right? And then State Government Ministers, including James Griffin and the local member, Mark.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. Now, is there any further discussion on this? Oh, did you get that? Sorry. Could you repeat what you just said? Yeah.
So, after right to relevant federal government ministers, so the right to Federal Government Minister, the Honourable Tanya Plibersek, and State Government Minister, the Honourable James Griffin, including local members, to confirm the extent of funding that they can commit to the purchase, restoration, embellishment and maintenance of Glenlee. Does that make sense?
Oh, you might want to read it out again, Councillor Elney, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll just have a look. Council right to Federal Government Minister, so, well, yeah, you can leave relevant. The Honourable Tanya Plibersek, State Government Minister, the Honourable James Griffin, including local members. And then you can take out Minister Curry out of that, and that'll cover all of them, to confirm the extent of funding that they will commit to the restoration, embellishment and maintenance of Glenlee.
Thank you. Okay, so would you like to read it out? Good. Oh, I've got it in front of me. Hold on. That all levels of council rights to the relevant federal government is undertaken. Secondly, the Honourable James Griffin, including local members, to confirm the extent of. That's okay. Councillor Marnie, yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just suggesting that we could amend that motion to also read the Honourable Linda Burney, MP, as she's Minister for Indigenous Australians, being an Indigenous site.
Are you accepting that amendment?
I see where Councillor Marnie is coming from, given that there has been issues raised about the fact that there is Indigenous artefacts that are in that site. So I think that's fair.
That's fair. Thank you. All right. If there's no further discussion, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Carried unanimously. Now we're going to go to the award of the 2022 Bill Ryan Activism Award to Dr. Sharon Cullis posthumously. At the council meeting on the 26th of April this year, I announced that Oatley West resident and secretary of the Georges River Environmental Alliance, Dr. Sharon Cullis or Anderson, had earned a place on the Georges River Combined Councils Committee Honour Board. Sadly, Dr. Cullis passed away on the 10th of June 2022, and this was acknowledged in a condolence motion by Councillor Marnie at the subsequent council meeting. Sharon helped achieve many things, both inside and outside of the Georges River local government area. It was thanks to Sharon and her friends that a phone tower which had been installed in Oatley Park next to the public school in 2003 was quickly removed. This set an important precedent for many other communities around Australia. Her many successes included the defeat of plans for the Sydney Second Airport at Holsworthy and the establishment of the Dharawal National Park. Sharon was also active on many fronts within the Sutherland Shire. In 2009, Sharon assisted the River SOS Group with a court case which attempted to stop coal mining under the Warrenora Dam. And in 2019, she was awarded a PhD for the thesis Fractured Landscapes and Narratives, controversy in the southern coalfield, which argued a compelling case against mining in the Georges River catchment. Sharon was also passionate about koala conservation in southwest Sydney and advocated strongly for a wildlife crossing at Heathcote Road, Sandy Point, which was approved by the state government in September. This month, Sutherland Shire Environment Centre posthumously presented Dr. Cullis with the prestigious 2022 Bill Ryan Activism Award. The motion I have is that Council thank the Sutherland Shire Environment Centre for posthumously honouring Dr. Sharon Cullis, a distinguished Georges River councillor, in this manner. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Now, councillors, I've been asked to provide an update on what's happening with the Cars Park aquatic facility. And now I'll just give you that update. In July 2021, Council resolved to review a comprehensively detailed technical and environment assessment report for both the Cars Park site and the Todd Park site to enable councillors to make an informed decision on the most suitable site for the construction of a future contemporary aquatic facility. I am pleased to advise that council officers provided a comprehensive confidential briefing to councillors on the 26th of October 2022, including details of the site investigations undertaken for both a local aquatic facility and a regional aquatic facility at both sites. Council officers have progressed concept plans for both Cars Park and Todd Park and are currently in the process of finalising the Georges River Aquatic Facility site assessment review that will include detailed technical investigations for each of the aquatic facility concepts, including site services and utilities, a geotechnical and civil engineering review, flood and stormwater management, traffic studies, environmental impact assessment, heritage impact assessment, arboricultural assessment, and detailed cost plans. The concept plans developed for a local aquatic facility include an 8-lane 51.5 Olympic standard pool, a 25-metre accessible learn-to swim pool, gym and fitness area, a cafe, wet and dry accessible change facilities, seating areas, operational offices, and a purpose-built car park. A report will be provided to the council at its November 2022 meeting, and that's the ultimate deadline for that happening. So we'll be there. Do we have any questions, any further discussion? Councillor
you,
Moore.
Mayor. I'd like to say something about your mayor a minute. Just want to thank you and all the councillors and all the staff for getting on board with finally giving the community an acknowledgement that we need this facility, and hopefully it will happen sooner rather than later. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Oh, I'll put, the motion is that this mayoral minute be noted. I'll move it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. Now, I think only two. Now we're going to talk about the draft Beverly Hills Master Plan. A later report for the consideration of the of the council tonight is an update on the preparation of the draft Beverly Hills Master Plan. The feedback provided by the councillors at the most recent workshop included no support for the compulsory acquisition of properties, concerned with the proposed heights and scale proposed in the exhibited master plan, support for the expansion of the B2 zone on the eastern side of King George's Road, investigate Melbourne Street for a B2 zoning, investigate additional floor space ratio and height over the residential areas to the west of King George's Road behind the B2 zone, address the interface between B2 and R2 zone. Councillors, the community has no appetite at all for compulsory acquisition of their homes. In April this year, I attended, along with many of our councillors, a face-to-face community consultation event that was organised by the Leader of the Opposition and Member for Conqueror, Mr. Chris Mintz. Many residents spoke on the matters that I have already mentioned, but the most passionate pleas came from those residents whose properties were being proposed for compulsory acquisition. Some spoke with tears in their eyes. This event that was organised by Chris Mintz was the first time that we came face to face with the community that was directly affected by the first edition of the Beverly Hills Master Plan. I do commend Chris Mintz for taking such an initiative, but we also must take into consideration it was the first time we were able to do this because of the restrictions caused, the health restrictions caused by the coronavirus. The possibility of compulsory land acquisition has caused some real anxiety for many of our community. So I propose that we make it very clear that a fundamental principle upon which this draft master plan will be prepared is that there is to be no compulsory acquisition. And my motion is that in the finalisation of the draft Beverly Hills Master Plan, a fundamental principle is that there be no compulsory land acquisition, and the master plan for Beverly Hills must only proceed on this basis. That this decision be communicated to our community via all suitable methods, including social media and the website. A written message from the Mayor is to be prepared and sent out to all the businesses and residents that are included in the master plan study. Discussion, Councillor Symington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I consider this to be the Triple M minute, the momentous mayoral minute. It's been a long time coming. Well, not your mayoral minute coming, of course, but the decision. I mean,
Yes. Thank you,
there
Councillor
are a few
Symington.
before, but it's a momentous moment. I previously said that I don't support compulsory acquisition. Never did when it was Transport for New South Wales over in Riverwood, Vinay, Sam and Monica. Horror stories with WestConnex. It's unfair and it's almost always inequitable. So this is a fantastic announcement. It provides certainty to the residents. There's been fear and anxiety for the residents on the east side of Beverly Hills, wondering what's going to happen with the homes that they so love. And now that this can be permanently erased. And I was also at that community forum where people were crying, and they were just so upset at the thought of leaving the community that they love. They didn't want to leave it, but they wanted to see their community revitalised, but they just didn't want to be collateral damage in having to go. So I think It's great that we can take this black cloud from above these residents' heads, and the people that want to do the renos can do the renos now, and the people that just want to sit and enjoy their home can, because there's no compulsory acquisition. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Symington. Is there any further discussion? No? No? I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried unanimously. Now, I did attend something which is a happy occasion with, I think, Councillor Elise Ball, and I think Councillor Ashwini Andy Paha. I'm getting it. I'll get it. On Saturday, the 22nd of September 2022, I, along with Councillor Elise Borg and Ashwini Ambi Paha, attended the Carlton South Public School Centenary Open Day. It was also attended by the Leader of the Opposition and State Member for Cogra, Mr Chris Minns, along with the Honourable Member for Banks, Mr David Coleman. The day commenced with an acknowledgement of country conducted by a parent who is of Aboriginal origin. A short introduction by the school principal, Mr Darren Galea, followed, including the launch of the new school crest. The school's history was showcased on the day through a variety of exhibits and community and school performances, which was colourful, full of energy, with many families and community members in attendance. There were lots of rides, food stalls, petting zoos, and old school fete activities. The whole atmosphere was vibrant and happy. I congratulate the principal, Mr Darren Galea, and the Parents and Citizens Committee, who did most of the organisation for the day, which had led to a very successful celebration of the school reaching its centenary milestone. My motion is that Council send a letter to the Principal, Mr Darren Galea, congratulating him and his Parents and Citizens Committee on a very successful and enjoyable Centenary Open Day, and also thank him for the invitation of myself and the other councillors that attended. If no further comments, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. And I believe that's the last of my now minutes. Now we'll go to we'll go to the report of the Environment and Planning Committee meeting held on the 10th of October 2022. Councillor Lansbury.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'm here. I'd like to move the report. There are only 2 items on the report. If I could just move it as it is and just ask that I please have my name recorded as abstaining for ENV 031-22. Thank you.
Okay, well that I'll, do we need a second, of course? Second. Councillor Moore. Is there any discussion on this matter? Councillor Lansbury, did you want to discuss? Did you want to mention anything?
I'll just add that the reason that I've asked for my name to be recorded as abstaining is that I've not supported this particular development previously. Every time it's come to us, I've had my name recorded as voting against it, and I understand that in this instance it's not actually changing anything dramatically, but it's just a matter of principle that I prefer to have my name recorded as abstaining, and I'll just leave it at that. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. If there's no more discussion, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried unanimously. The report of the Finance and Governance Committee meeting on the 10th of October 2022. Councillor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I just move the recommendation that the Finance and Governance Committee items FIN 047-22 to FIN 05022 as detailed in the report be adopted by Council, noting that FIN 049-22, the social media policy, has been deferred to this meeting for consideration.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Martin. All those in favour say aye. Oh, is there any discussion on this? Sorry. All right, all those in favour say aye, all those against say no. I declare it carried. Report of the Assets and Services Infrastructure. Councillor Simon.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I wish to move all items with the exception of Two items, ASS 031-22, report of the Georges River Local Traffic Committee Advisory Committee meeting 4th October 2022, and ASS 032-22, e-scooter trial.
Thank you. I'm going to need a seconder.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor, but I'd also,
Seconded by Councillor Bruce Konjowski.
thank you. I'd also like to withdraw or defer item TAC 150-22, the Boulevard Sans Souci proposed line marking. I understand that the principal of the school has sent a letter in requesting that a review of some of the items that have been mentioned in that report.
That's the traffic report. Yes. Yeah, that's an element, a matter in the traffic report that you're deferring.
Yes, TAC 10-22, the Boulevard Sans Souci.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was second. That was moved.
No, this is the
The
specific
second.
item.
Okay, you're actually moving an amendment. No, I think that's an amendment. Yes. Councillor Simon moved it. Councillor Luke and Jossie seconded.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so my understanding, aren't we supposed to move the three items that I moved, and then the other two, then we deal with the other two? That's what I thought we should do, but yeah.
Well, you've moved the.
I think, Mr. Mayor, we just need to make a resolution according to the first movement,
Yeah.
the first motion that was
The
moved by
first
Councillor
motion
Symington.
was
Yeah.
Councillor Simonton.
Seconded.
Councillor Konjowski seconded.
I vote in favour of that.
So those have gone through. Now, Councillor.
No, we have to make a resolution on that. So
Yeah, well, the resolution has to be from Councillor Konjowski amending.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. You just need to call for a resolution on the motion that was moved by Councillor Symington, seconded by Councillor Konjowski. We make a resolution on that, then Councillor Konjowski can then bring out that one.
All right.
That
Yeah,
one
that's
motion.
fair enough.
Is that- Sorry.
Yeah, okay, so it's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on those two items? Three items. No, that's not working as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Mayor,
What,
can
that's
I
not
offer,
working. Sorry.
a solution?
Sorry.
May I offer a solution? If Councillor Symington accepts the amendment
Yeah, it's an
that
amendment.
Councillor Konjowski wants for that first item, you can then move that as the item for adoption. So you can move three items, modifying the recommendation for the traffic committee to exclude that item, if that's what you want to do. If you accept that amendment as being proposed by Councillor Konjowski.
Another councillor wants to move on the traffic committee as well.
So you could accept all those amendments as your motion
So it's
and move that motion.
it's as I said in the beginning, it's a mover, seconder with amendments.
Right.
And you accept those
And you've
amendments.
got another amendment?
In light of Mr. Henniger's speech this evening, I think it would be appropriate to defer the Acacia Street bus stop matter.
Okay, would you accept that amendment on amendment? Sorry? No, I'll go to the
Yes,
amendment.
I'll accept that.
Okay. Councillor Konjowski, would you accept that amendment?
Yes, I'll accept that.
Okay, so what we've got, a mover, a seconder, an amendment, and an amendment. So I'm putting all that.
No, I think the mover
Hmm.
is accepting the amendment,
The
so
amendments.
that what Councillor Symington is moving, it includes all the amendments being suggested. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
motion that's been moved and seconded.
Okay.
Yes, I'm moving that.
Okay. Now that we've got that straight, is there any discussion? Right, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. Now we're going to the report of the Community and Culture Committee meeting on the 10th of October. Councillor,
Point of order.
sorry?
You need to bring up one
Oh,
item.
sorry, I need to bring up the item of the e-scooters. I would like to speak against that if possible.
That was, it's already gone.
So,
No.
no.
Sorry? Can we just get this straight?
Yeah.
It's awfully
So
confusing.
there was 3 items, am I right?
There's 3 items, and the 2 items were moved.
That's correct. 2 items were moved with changes to those 2 items that were moved that were accepted by the mover and seconder.
Let's recommit it. It's got to be recommitted. Sorry,
It has
it's got to be recommitted so it can be done properly. Now, let's get to the start of it. We'll go back to. I move for a recommittal.
No, Mr. Mayor.
No, I'm not prepared to take this. I think we move for a recommittal. This is my assessment, because basically, what I heard, and I need to be clarified. I need this clarified. What I heard was a movement. A movement for the e-scooter, a movement for the Hurstville, and then there were 2 amendments to the. So how about we start again?
Mr. Mayor,
Councillor
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
Can I make a suggestion?
yes.
Can I recommend that ASS 03322 be moved, with the exception of ASS 032 and ASS 031? They both be pulled out and voted on separately.
So the only one we're actually
We're moving
moving,
ASS 033, which is the electrical supply upgrade.
There's 2 others there too.
yeah. So we're Councillor Symington is moving the last item with the exception of the first 2.
Exactly.
That's what I did the first time.
Oh well, unfortunately, everybody was talking. It didn't come out that way. Anyway, can we, Councillor Symington, is that correct? Yeah, you're moving. I'm recommitting it. We're starting again.
I moved all items with the exception of 31-22 and 32-22, so they could be dealt with.
Okay, fair enough. So that's been moved. Seconded by Councillor Lemire. If there's no further discussion on those items, I will put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Okay, so that item, the last item in that list, has been carried. Okay, so let's go to the first item, which is ASS 03122. Did you want to move an amendment to that? You're moving the Traffic Committee with the exception of.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll move the Traffic Committee report, the Traffic Advisory Committee report, with the exception of THC 150-22, the Boulevard Sam Susie proposed line marking, and also defer THC 133-22.
Councillor Ashby,
something wrong.
Andy Hart. Okay, so that's that's been moved. Is there any discussion on that?
I'm happy to second that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, that's fine. Yes. No, it's fine. So I will put that now. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Okay, I declare that carried. We now go to the e-scooter trial.
I'm happy to move that, Mr. Mayor. Understanding that there may be speakers against it, so I'll just move it.
And do we have a second? Okay, seconded by Councillor Symington. Okay, for the proposal, Councillor Lemire has the floor at this stage.
No, I'll reserve my right, Mr.
You
Mayor.
reserve your right.
Thank you.
The seconder has the right to address the council.
No, I'll reserve my right as well to speak.
And so, speaker against.
I'd like to speak against it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
First of all, I feel that the safety risk is just too high, and I don't think we're set up to cater for this trial. Many councils across Sydney has opted out of this trial, so why are we opposing this trial on our residents? There have been serious deaths due to e-scooters. I'm concerned people won't ride them where they're supposed to, that people are reckless with them, which has the risk to the person riding. But I'm more concerned about the potential impact to pedestrians from collisions, of which there has been many recorded deaths. If people are riding these at night, What are the nighttime safety provisions in terms of lighting, high vis, helmets? What does the council have if there is serious injury or death resulting from this trial? Is there any insurances in place for those? I feel that this trial is a waste of state government funding and invaluable staff resources. So that's why I won't be supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. I'll take a speaker in support of the motion.
Yeah, I'd like to speak in favour of.
Thank you, Councillor.
I understand that there might be some safety concerns in relation to e-scooters, but the e-scooter trial that we're undertaking, from my understanding, is the regulated ones by the companies which limit the e-scooter to 15 kilometres an hour, not 60 kilometres an hour, that where we've seen the accidents occur across other LGAs, where they've actually been illegal e-scooters, not been the regulated ones that this council will be undertaking with trial. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll take another speaker against.
Mr. Mayor, it's Catherine Lansbury. I'd like to speak against it if I could.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, I understand the interest in this, and I do thank the council officers for all the work that they've put into it. They've not got much to work with, unfortunately. We don't have shared pathways in the LGA, really. We don't have bike paths, and I think that was part of the rationale and criteria originally for councils to participate in this trial. Many of the major councils in Sydney have pulled out of it. City of Sydney, Inner West, Waverley, Blacktown, Canterbury Bankstown, Strathfield, and I think others have been reconsidering their position on it. I understand that there is a level of enthusiasm for it, but personally I think it's a little bit gimmicky. I think that I would much prefer to see the state government investing in things like shared pathways and bikeways before we actually create this situation which is potentially dangerous. As Councillor Mort said before, there have been a number of recorded deaths and they may have been private e-scooters. That's kind of beside the point in my view. I think there is always going to be people who exploit the circumstances that are there. I have seen people riding up Carwar Avenue at 7 o'clock at night in the dark with no helmet on at quite speed. I know Councillor Mort has seen people as well. I know that that is not considered, especially as a part of this trial. This is going to be quite regulated, but I don't want us to be in a situation where something awful happens and then it's like, wish we hadn't gone ahead with it. So, you know, I'm sorry that I'm probably erring on the side of caution with this, but I just sort of think the risks are too high. We're not designed as an LGA to support this sort of thing. It would be great if we did have somewhere that was suitable for it, but we do know that our council officers had to scratch around a bit to find a location that might be suitable. And I, for one, not really that convinced that up along Railway Parade or somewhere like that is going to be an ideal location mixing with traffic. Even if it's speed limited to 20, I think it could be quite chaotic. So I'm sorry, but I just can't support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Symington. Councillor Simon has the right to okay. Question. No, turn it off. Question.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair, to the Director, Mr. Latter. Are there any, have other councils decided to take part in the trial? Has that changed?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Symington, yes, it has. A number of councils have actually elected to participate in the trial.
Well, I've got to tell why she got it very Oh, Councillor.
Thank you. I just wanted to rise and speak about the trial that came through the traffic committee some months ago, and it's not quite what Councillor Lansbury has said, where we had to scratch around to find a place. It was pretty much one of a couple of different locations that we had to have a look at, and the Cogra precinct, the Cogra area was extremely suitable for this type of trial. The scooters themselves are Did you cut me off? The scooters themselves are also regulated in a way that they're speed limited. They're limited from where they can travel as being footpaths. They can't travel past a certain radius of where they've been allocated. They need to be returned to one of the points where they've been picked up. So you can't just jump on the scooter at 100 miles an hour and dump. Maybe so. Or Mr. Mayor doesn't like me. Thank you. Keep getting muted. Thank you. I'll be now, Councillor Mahay. The rest of that was that we do have the opportunity now to be one of the pioneering councils and see exactly where this trial takes us. The scooters are not designed to speed. The scooters are not designed to be ridden on the footpaths. The scooters are not designed to be ridden past a certain point. They're designed for simply picking up a scooter, funding your trip to where it is you're going, and then returning the scooter to that same point. So I think that this is in fact an opportunity for us to go forward and show the rest of Sydney and perhaps the rest of New South Wales and Australia where these scooters are going. I mean, all you have to do is look around. They're being used anyway. So this is a way to show people how to use them responsibly and carefully.
Thank you, Councillor Congelsi. Now, this. Sorry. Yes, no. Is there any? Oh, Councillor Marnie here.
Just a question, Mr. Mayor, following from Councillor Simonton's question about the other LGAs that have had this trial. Would the director know which town centres they were trialling? Thanks.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Marnie, we'd have to take that on notice, Councillor Marnie. I know there were a number of other councils that had actually opted in. I'm not 100% sure of those town centres though.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this matter? Councillor Amir, did you want to?
Just my right reply, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a great opportunity for our LGA. I think the points regarding the safety of these e-scooters and how they're going to be specifically allocated to particular pathways, not footpaths, has already been made. But this is also about what sort of future do we see for our town centres and what sort of adoption of technology can we have for our town centres in our local government area. It will provide an opportunity for our town centres and especially our smaller town centres to be activated by ease of connection through other town centres. So if the proposal is for this to be trialled in Kogarah Town Centre all the way up to Carlton Station, now you will have ports where these scooters must be returned to. So unlike the bike share system that was going on some time ago where we found them in lakes and trees and someone's backyard or whatever it may be, this is specific because these scooters, as the council officers have provided us a briefing on, need to be picked up by the provider, charged every couple of days. When the technology that's being implemented, so when you go to purchase, use, or for this e-scooter, it keeps charging you until you actually lock it back into the port, and then it will stop charging you. But on that point about activating town centres, imagine you're a healthcare professional in Kogarah and you want to go up to Carlton and go to the gym for an hour during your break. This is a great opportunity to jump on one of these scooters, go up to Carlton. It may take you only a few minutes, but you're not driving a vehicle. You're getting on this e-scooter. You're going up to the gym, training for 1 hour, then you're going back to work. This is the sort of thing that you want because that's what allows you to activate those smaller town centres, the interconnectivity between them all. What this does as well is this e-scooter trial provides the data that's required in managing legislation moving forward. So if the state government sees that there is a great uptake of this, that the people are using them correctly, we're minimising any sort of accidents that may occur or whatever it may be, they will form legislation that's appropriate to the data they gather. Now, if you don't have an ability to gather the data through trial periods that are being rolled out across LGAs in New South Wales, then you can't form legislation that will be suitable for future reference. It also then opens the discussion we heard earlier about not having specific pathways or cycleways within our LGA. I recall a few years ago we moved to adopt a active transport cycle or parkway system within our LGA. This then allows us to turn around, if this is successful, to turn around and lobby state government or federal government for further funding to assist us to roll out active transport routes within our LGA. Right, so I'm thinking well and truly beyond just the e-scooter trial that we are adopting in this Kogarah Town Centre. And yes, there are concerns, like everyone, with everything, there's positives and negatives. But I think what we need to do is we need to formulate or assist in formulating legislation to minimise those risks and those concerns. So I'll just leave it at that, Mr Mayor, and I hope that councillors can support this motion.
Thank you, Councillor Elmere. That's 2 for and 2 against. I think I can put it, if everyone's happy for me to put it. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I think we'll have to go around the table. You can start.
Mayor, your vote, please.
4.
Councillor Amby Haperham. 4. Councillor Borg.
4.
Councillor Elmere.
4.
Councillor Jamieson.
Against.
Councillor Konjarski.
4.
Councillor Lansbury.
Against.
Councillor Liu.
4.
Councillor Marnie.
4.
Councillor Mort.
Against.
Councillor Smerdley.
4.
Councillor Stratokopoulos.
4.
Councillor Symington. Councillor Wang. 10 for and 4 against.
I declare the motion carried. Now, with all apologies to Councillor Symington, we have another issue. Unfortunately, my running sheet shows 3 items in your committee, and the actual report shows 4. And the confusion was that I thought we were only you're taking 2 out and leaving 1. In actual fact, you took 2 out and left 2.
Originally, I said I'd move all items in with the exception of those 2. So that's what I said originally.
Well, I do apologise. It's my fault because my running sheet only has 3 items, not 4, and that's where the confusion lies. So we're going to have to vote. Sorry,
Mr Mayor, I had a feeling that could be a case. It could be a printing error, but I think if you go back to the transcripts, I think Councillor Symington did do the right thing in moving the motions correctly, and I believe that's where your confusion started, because it wasn't correlating with the papers that you had in front of you. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that what was moved by Councillor Symington was actually correct.
Is it? Could I have a wording on that?
That'll be fine. Yeah.
That'll be fine. Okay.
That'll cover
that's acceptable.
034 as well.
But a sincere apology to all of you for the confusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. Keep going. Sorry, where are we up to? Community and culture. Is there 3 items on there? There's only 3 items. Thank you. Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad to move items COM 041-22 and COM 043-22. Can I have a second for that?
Councillor Konjarski seconding that. You're moving the 3 items, right?
No. Then I'm going to move the
41,
amendment.
42 and 43?
No. 41 and 43.
43, okay. That's
Yeah,
what you
and then I'm going to move the amendment of item 42, COM 42-22. Firstly, can I have a seconder for that? Then I'll read out. Yeah.
Yeah. You need a vote on the first.
Oh, okay. When I try to move item 041 and 043, Councillor Lukanjowski seconded it. Can I think we need to vote for it first, right?
Correct.
Okay, well, is there any discussion on it? No. I'll put it, all those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I declare it.
Mr. Mayor.
Anyone against it? No. I'll declare it carried. Now,
Then, yes, I'm going to move the amendment of item COM 42-22. Can I have a seconder? Councillor Alice.
You just move.
Yes. Yes, with the amendment. Then
you're seconding. Okay. Move.
Yes.
There
Can
is
I-
a seconder. By all
Thank
means.
you. Then I try to, read out amendment is going to be shown
Right,
on the screen as well.
Do we
So-
have the amendment?
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen. So
Okay.
do you need me to read out or you?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So the
Okay, well, let's read it out. It's on the screen. I'll give you 2 minutes to read it. How's that?
I don't think I need that long, but
No,
1 minute.
not you to read it. It's for the councillors to read.
Okay. So it's going to be A, B, C, D, E. Are we
Behind
going
you,
to
in
be?
front of you.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's all on the
Yeah,
screen.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, if you'd like to talk to, it's up to you.
No,
You
is
don't
any,
have to, you can-
no,
you
is
don't
any
have to.
discussions from the other councillors?
Yeah, we have a, sorry, what's that?
I mean, apart from me, I don't have anything. Is there any other
That's all
discussion?
right, I'll handle that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Um,
actually, Mr.
is
Mayor.
anybody, did you want to talk to?
I'll speak really briefly to it. This is just follows on from a motion that we put forward at the council a few months back, and the council officers have brought forward recommended terms of reference for a new Georges River Council Sports Advisory Committee that's been presented to council, and I support this motion, which is that which will enable the staff to move forward and put out expressions of interest to community groups, sporting groups, to invite them to participate in a 12-month trial of a new sports advisory committee. And the actual terms of reference will be finalised and adopted at the first meeting of this committee, which will be in March of next year, hopefully. And at some point between now and March next year, council will appoint the council representatives to be on that sports committee. So thank you to the council officers for giving us a good briefing, and I look forward to seeing this come to life next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Borg. Any further discussion on this? None? I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. The next item is Councillor Lansbury.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. That's item CCL 098-22, the status report on the update of development contributions, environmental planning and assessment amendment, infrastructure contributions bill 2021. I'd like to move the report as it appears on the business paper.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Borg. Is there any discussion on this one? There is none. I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. And we're now going to the update on the options for Beverly Hills Master Plan. Councillor Lansbury.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. That's CCL 099-22. I'll move that as it appears in the business paper. Thank you.
Seconded by Councillor Symington.
With the agreement of Councillor Lansbury, I'd like to add just a small amendment. because I want to ensure that what we agreed in the Mayor's Merrill Minute is added to this recommendation. I'll just read this for you, Councillor Lansbury. That council note the contents of the report update on the options for the Beverly Hills Master Plan, and what I'm adding is and reaffirms the adoption by council of the earlier Merrill Minute that any Beverly Hills Master Plan must only proceed on the basis that there will be no compulsory acquisitions.
Is that acceptable to Councillor Lansbury?
Excellent amendment. Very happy to accept that.
Thank you. Did you want to talk?
Yeah, can I,
Thank
Councillor
you.
Lansbury might want to talk.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Lansbury, you're next. You're first.
Oh, look, I won't say too much because it does actually build on the Merrill Minute that you put up before, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to Councillor Symington for moving that amendment. I think this is a great step forward that we can give some sort of certainty to the residents of Beverly Hills that were potentially impacted by the compulsory acquisition component of the proposed master plan. I too attended that meeting a few months ago with a number of other councillors, and you could not fail but know that the feeling in that room was that this was one of the strongest things that the people who were there felt very strongly about it. And sorry, my COVID brain's not really functioning very well, so I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Councillor Symington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to Councillor Lansbury. Look, I've spoken about my opposition to compulsory acquisition, but now I want to just say a few words on why Beverly Hills desperately needs revitalisation. I've only encountered one person in all the times that I've talked with the community who said leave it this way, which currently it's on life support. It's effectively dying before our eyes. We've got permanent clearways, we've got limited car parking, but this is not a NIMBY community. It's one that wants to restore vibrancy with innovative ideas and planning. There are so many passionate residents who see the potential for Beverly Hills. One of those is Kathy Kelman. I want to particularly thank her for the ideas and drive and input that we've had discussions in person about that, and she's passionate about that area. The commercial precinct and revitalisation needs to happen, but with appropriate development, not overdevelopment, not endless multi-storey buildings which snuff out the community heart and soul. And that's why this type of development is often counterproductive. We have a unique opportunity to resuscitate a once vibrant precinct that will encourage non-residents to visit and enjoy while still keeping community, which is so important, alive. I'm up for the challenge and want a master plan that will do just that. But I also want to take the opportunity to thank all the staff who have been involved in the previous draft master plan and this master plan. I mean, it's taken countless hours and effort on their part, and I just want them to know that all their efforts are appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Simon. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Mayor, you've got your light on.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'm completely in favour of this, and I congratulate Councillor Symington and Councillor Lansbury on putting forward the complete, fear that there will be compulsory acquisition and easing the concerns of some residents on that matter. The point that I wanted to make that in moving forward with a proposed master plan for Beverly Hills, I think we can all agree that it is in desperate need of revitalisation, and we would all love to see a town centre that is that has a vision to sort of increase the new sort of developments that may occur there, and create an opportunity to increase vibrancy within that town centre. The one point that I want to just make, and I think it's just to be noted by council officers, is that we all also in desperate need of some green areas now, especially in those high density town centres. And I think what's important is that we constantly consider the fact that we need to apply some thought to creating green open spaces and what that may look like in terms of a master plan with people that may have large parcels of land, and what we can do in terms of incentivising those people to possibly accommodate some green parcels within that town centre. So that way, at the very least, if people start acting on this master plan and there is development that occurs there, that the people living above those shops do have a place to sort of step down and congregate and sort of meet with other people and sort of enjoy the sun or whatever it may be. I think those are considerations that are really important moving forward. Thank you.
Councillor Lemire, I will take anybody that wants to speak against, only against, because I've already had 3 speakers for. If there's no against, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried unanimously. We're now going to the tabling. Tabling of disclosures of interest returns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the recommendation.
Thank you. Who's seconder? Councillor Marnie, I'll take that. Just one question. Has everyone done it? Yes. They have? Good. Just in case. Well, I don't think there's anything to talk about here, so I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. The next one is applications pursuant to council award discretion. Oh, councillor, yes, councillor is leaving the room. All right, well, we have applications pursuant to the council award discretionary fund, which is the one that's in next. All right. I'd have a move.
Yeah, I moved the recommendation. I do have a question, so if someone wants to second it.
Thank you, Councillor.
My question is, can the General Manager just clarify if the unallocated discretionary ward fund for Councillor Tegg will now be at the discretion of Councillor Andy Haber?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I might just have a look over it, Vicky, but my answer would be yes, but I'll check that out tomorrow and give you a definitive answer tomorrow.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on this? No, no further discussion. I'll put it. All those, all those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. The new social media policy. Oh, she's got to come in. The new social media policy.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that with an amendment, which is the addition of item B, which is up on the screen now.
Yeah.
And the amendment is that the recommendation is that the council adopt the social media policy as attached to the report, and that the new social media policy does not come into effect until the procedures for the administration of the social media policy is adopted by council, and the appropriate training has been provided to council officials.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkes. Seconder. Seconded. I'm going to start asking you to put your lights on. I'll beat you to it. Seconded by Councillor Lemire. Is there any discussion on this? There being no discussion, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried unanimously. I'm just wanting to go to my sorry, just bear with me. I was just going to try and do something. One. Yeah, thank you. Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I move the recommendation for the report unaudited general purpose financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2022. And I just have a couple of questions. So if you want to get a second.
Seconder, light. Who's got a light? No one's got a light. No one's going to second it. Okay, Councillor Christina Jamieson, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So it's just a question just through you to the General Manager, just on item 7 in the report. It says a material increase in legal expenditure by $1.2 million due to the ongoing New South Wales ICAC investigation. And I just recall it being mentioned that council may be able to recover some of this legal expense via insurance. And I just wanted to get an update. Can council provide any update on whether this will happen, and if so, when would it be expected to happen?
General Manager.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, all invoices have been sent to our insurance underwriters for the claim to be assessed, and at this stage it's still being processed. I've got no reason to believe that we will not receive a portion or most of the money that's been outlaid for this court case, but at this moment I'm still waiting for confirmation that it will be accepted.
Thank you. Councillor Borg, any further questions?
Yeah, I just have just one other quick question. It's just probably through you, Director, Acting Director of Finance. The number of FTEs in the report is 528 for 2022 versus 561 in 2021. My question is the 528 headcount number of if every FTE was filled, or just the FTEs counted? Is it counted if someone has resigned and the placement hasn't been filled?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so the FTE quoted in the report doesn't include vacancies. So yes, it's excluding vacancies as that figure. Actual FTE, correct.
Councillor Borg, any further? Seconder was Councillor Amir, I think, if I got it right. Councillor Jamieson. Look, I really do want to put something on record because I think this is an important part of our functioning, and that's the financial statements. I did sit down and speak to the Ms. Daniela Parker, the General Manager, and I think the community out there really needs to know what is the essence of this document. I mean, I found it hard to be honest with you, because there's a lot of technical language in there, and I found it hard to get my head around it. But I think I need to put something on record, which I would hope is communicated to the media at some stage. Look, let's say that, look, in the 2021 and 22, 2021-22 proved to be an extraordinary year due to a high number of unforeseen significant events that resulted in service disruptions that have either indirectly or directly impacted Council's financial results. Since 2018, Georges River Council has been actively working towards financial sustainability. The results of the 2021-22 continue to highlight that the forecast of the long-term financial plan and overall budget strategy was successful in sustaining operations while Council works towards a surplus in future years. The 2021 and 22 budget adoption was a critical turning point in Georges River Council's financial sustainability, as it was the first year of the special rate variation. The operating performance ratio, and this is the important part, and I must admit it took me most of the afternoon to get my head around it, because I only had this meeting with Mr. Parker and the General Manager probably about 4 o'clock, if I remember rightly, and it really, after that I was still trying to find out what this all means. But anyway, I'll try. I'll just keep going. The operating performance ratio continues to have favourable improvements. Though still in deficit of 1.97%, it is an improvement to prior year deficits of 3.75% in 2021 and 8.4% in 2019 to 2020. The operating performance ratio is the key indicator of sustainable operations. An operating deficit occurs when total expenses are greater than total income, excluding all capital amounts. This includes a council's day-to-day income and expenses. Total expenses include depreciation, amortization, and impairment. Councils are encouraged to budget for surplus results and to take into account the condition and maintenance requirements of assets in this case. The ratio is calculated by total continuing operating revenue, excludes fair value adjustments, net gains and losses, on sale of assets, net share losses and joint ventures, excluding capital gains, capital grants and contributions, less operating expenses divided by, now this is all gobbledygook, but I've got a handling of it now, divided by total total continuing operating revenue, excluding capital grants and contributions. Look, I'll cut this short rather than just read it. What it basically means is when I first read this report, I said, wow, we're doing extremely well. We've got a budget surplus of 11.2, and then when you compare it with something else, it's 15.7, and then when you compare it with another year, it's 12.7. When you compare it with another year, it's 13.7. And I said, that sounds wonderful. How did we jump from a deficit, a substantial deficit, to a substantial surplus? Well, that's not the true picture. And I'm sure Councillor Konchowski understands what I'm talking about. It's not the true picture. The true picture is this. When you're looking at your total income, you've got to take out those once-off items, the sale of properties, the sale of various other things which are once-off, and the grants and capital grants. You've got to take them out. So when you do take them out, you end up coming with a figure of a total income of about 145 million, not 175 million, because if you go to page 126, you'll understand what I'm getting at. The actual expenditure is, the actual income, the actual expenditure is 145 million. The actual expenditure is what you see, 149 million some dollars. So our deficit is within the range of, let's say, around 4 million. And when you divide that by our expenditure, you're looking at a loss of 1.9%, which is a lot better than the previous years, but we're still not up at 11.7, 11.2. What we're hoping to do is in the future, as if we're going in that direction, which is sounding really good, in the future that 1.9% will drop to 1% and then hopefully square. So has anybody got any questions about that? Because because I got really excited, I'm sure a lot of people got really excited that we're doing extremely well. Yeah, we've got the money, it's in the bank, but it doesn't indicate our true operating situation. And if you go to those graphs, we're doing really well in every other performance. What do they call it? Where is it? We're doing really well in every other. When you look at that on page 96, we're doing very well in every other performance measure. But
would you be able to go through those, Mr. Mayor?
And what's in
those ones that you're talking about?
Yeah, well, those ones. If you have a look at the operating performance ratio, that's what I was just talking about, the first one. That's what I was just talking about. With all these, I think I might just leave these next ones. The ones that I've just talked about are the ones that interest me. And that's, I think, the ones that really interest you. With regards to the own source operating revenue, unrestricted current ratio, maybe the manager can articulate that a lot better than I can. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think you've given quite a detailed summary, but just in a nutshell, that the other ratios highlighted there are performing well and above benchmark, though the operating performance ratio continues to be below benchmark, but it is improving. So that's the positive takeaway for Council's results today.
Thank you. Is that why I can't hear? Okay, now I'll put it. Sorry, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried. Now the stronger, is that the one? Stronger. Yes, it is. Stronger Communities funding update. We've got an update here. Do I have a mover? Where does that come from? Is it Christy? No, Nancy. Yeah, it's your It's your area. It's the Stronger Communities Funding Update, July 2021, 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I would like to move it.
Yeah.
Can I have a second?
You're seconding it, Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Has anyone got any questions or any comments to make on this one? No? Okay, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. Now we're going to the notices of motion. Councillor Symington, yours is the first one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move my motion as read, Public Spaces Charter.
Seconder.
Thank you.
Seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Symington.
Yeah, I mean, this comes from Minister Stokes' area. What a great loss to State Parliament he will be when he retires. Public space is where public life happens. It's parks, it's playing fields, it's bushland, it's public facilities, libraries, community centres, indoor sporting fields, it's streets, it's plazas, it's bicycle paths, and so many more. People are at the heart of public space, and the way they use it is what transforms it into a meaningful place. The purpose of the New South Wales Public Spaces Charter is to support everyone in New South Wales to have access to high quality public space that allows them to enjoy and participate in public life. The Charter has been more than a year in the making and is based on a deep and broad community engagement. The 10 set of principles are based on solid evidence and research and will underpin the creation and improvement of high quality public spaces across New South Wales, and in particular Georges River Council if we become a signatory to the Charter. The New South Wales Public Spaces Charter provides 10 principles for quality public space that is designed to maximise social, cultural, environmental and economic benefits that public spaces deliver. Now I know they're listed, but I'm going to read them out. Number 1 is open and welcoming. 2, community focused. 3, culture and creativity. 4, local character and identity. 5, green and resilient. 6, healthy and active. 7, local business and economies. 8, safe and secure. 9, designed for place. And 10, well managed. These key principles are premised on the understanding that there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to public space. Every public space has its own unique history, heritage, context, and is supporting different needs and uses to specific community. There are no set rules as to where and how the Charter applies. It could involve a national park, just as it could involve a pocket park. Now, by becoming a signatory to the Charter, Georges River Council will be showing a commitment to embed the 10 principles when we plan for, design, manage or activate public spaces. As the Council Officer's report states, a goal for Council is to plan how our assets work together, to create great places for our current and future community to enjoy. So ultimately, this Charter will provide better public spaces for our local government area. So I can only see benefits. I hope you support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Symington. Seconder, do you do want to?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I think it goes without saying. Most or all councillors know my views on this, and I've been constantly reiterating the importance of public open spaces within our LGA. I congratulate Councillor Symington for putting this motion forward, and yes, the honourable member Stokes will be sorely missed because he did have quite he had conviction in providing these public spaces for future generations, and I think that's extremely important. The topic is always about how do we make a better place for our children, and I think by adopting this and being signatory to the Department of Education's, the Department of Planning and Environment's Charter, that shows that we are serious about creating a better place within our local government area to incorporate more open spaces, more public spaces, more green spaces, because that ultimately has greater benefits down the track. So, councillors, I think this is a great motion, and congratulations, Councillor Symington, for being the leader on this.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. Is there any? I'll take someone against. No one against? I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried unanimously. Now we're going to the administration of variations to existing contracts. Councillor Marnie, would you like to move your?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just some background. Council already has.
Second to first.
Sorry.
Oh, Councillor Ball.
Thank you. Council already has extremely effective policies and procedures which govern variations of contracts. However, there are no current government-issued guidelines to assist staff in considering and implementing contract variations. Additional guidelines issued by the state government will further safeguard council's interests, not to mention those of other New South Wales councils. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Councillor Book, did you? Okay, is anybody for? Anyone against? Okay, well, I'll put it. Then all those in favour say aye. Aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried unanimously. Here we go. Development, a request to waive section 711 development contributions for NDIS related dwellings. Councillor Jamieson. Yeah. No, you can move it and then I'll get a second. Seconder? Yes.
Sorry.
Move.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Did you want to talk to it? Okay. Thank you.
So firstly, I wanted to say thank you to Catherine McMahon and Meryl's team for coming up for a solution with this quite promptly, actually. So as we heard Susan Munro say that she couldn't find suitable housing for her son's requirements for independent living. So, his son's got a disability. So there is a gap, a shortage. So they turned to refurbishing a garage so that Susan's son can progress towards independent living with his disabilities. Being elderly and pensioners, they're running out of time and options. So I request that you support this motion so that this family can deal with their challenges by waiving development fees, allowing the son to learn independent living. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Councillor Money, do you want to mention this?
Nothing, Mr Mayor.
Anyone against? I am against. Did you want to speak first, Councillor, or me? I'm happy to speak after.
I have a couple of questions, Mr. Mayor, and I think I may have an amendment that may be suitable, but I'd take on board and this is a tough thing because it's a scenario by which a family is trying to find, it wants to construct suitable living for their son so that he can remain at home with them. But then there's also all the other technical aspects of the application moving forward, and I think this is where it becomes critical. And taking on board the comments, the director's comments at the bottom, which is it doesn't fall within the exempt provisions under the plan, which is quite unfortunate because you'd think that something like this would be. But at the same time, I think we must be cautious in how we go about doing this. I understand that it is a one-off thing, but as we've seen in the past, these are things that can spiral out of control, and then how do you make a judgment, or how do council officers be able to make a judgment and a recommendation to us as councillors, and then we sort of balance up what's right, what's wrong, who deserves, who doesn't deserve. It becomes a very messy scenario. And what I want to ask through you, Mr. Mayor, whether it be to the director or to the general manager, is I understand that this is already half the fee of what would normally be taken for a development of this type. But if we were to turn around and say, well, okay, we understand that you are going through difficulties at the moment where you may not have the cash, because the critical factor is that you have to pay this contribution before starting construction. However, is there a way that we can turn around and say on this, or through, whether it be through our hardships policy or whether it be through other means, that we say, okay, your contribution, which is half of the amount of what would normally occur, doesn't need to be paid up front. You can start with the construction moving forward after you've agreed to a payment plan with council to eventually pay off this contribution over a period of time.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Almere. We do, so this is slightly different because it's not a DA, it's a CDC, so a compliant development certificate. So they're required to pay the funds once they start construction. So they've started construction and that's when it's come to our attention that they have not paid the fee. However, what we haven't explored with them is a payment plan. No, we haven't done that. We have done that before with mainly when it's linked to a DA, but we have the construction certificate and the occupation certificate to keep us in check. But it's not out of the question that we could start a payment plan with them. Yes, we could.
So hopefully before voting on this, can we possibly explore the option of seeing whether we can go into agreement with a payment plan with the family? They may turn around and say, yeah, that's no problem. You know, if you allow us to continue constructing, we'll agree to a payment plan with council, and therefore, you know, everyone's satisfied in that way. I think because the critical factor here is the fact that they would have to stop construction, that the site would have to stop. They won't be able to proceed unless they actually pay the $7,000. That's my understanding.
That's through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor. I mean, they can continue to construct, but we will commence legal action against them. And that's what they don't want. And I don't think we want that either. No. But, I mean, I guess the council could defer the item until we have a conversation with them regarding a payment plan. That may be an option for you to explore.
Councillor Almere, you're still on the floor.
Mr. Mayor. Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to propose a suggestion, an amendment then to the motion, that council in regard to CDC, so on and so forth, so for the conversion of these existing brick and the double garage into a one-bedroom granny flat at 39 Mimosa Street, to defer the section 711 contributions plus any CPI increases to be paid on an agreed payment plan, allowing the applicant to continue construction of the secondary dwelling.
Should we enter into discussions because at the present moment?
Well, that's exactly what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
that's my intent. I guess if there's better wording
it's
along
coming
that
out
line.
as to defer it means not to pay it. How about
Well, I'm happy for
the
suggestions.
directors to enter into discussions with the proponents or with the applicants to come with to arrive at a possible payment plan. But I don't know if the payment plan is going to work because they want a total. Anyway, I'm listening. But it has to be accepted by Councillor Jamieson.
Of course.
So I think really we don't want to defer the payments. We want them to pay the payments over a period of time.
Well, I thought that was clear with the wording.
Oh, let's have a look. And then,
yeah, maybe
the
we just
council.
reread it.
Yeah, what does it say? Yeah, to be paid on an agreed payment plan, allowing the applicant to continue construction. Okay, well, all right. That's up to Councillor Jamieson too.
Yes, sorry. So for them to have, I would assume, a payment plan to be done beforehand, and them doing it, they are running out of time. So they have been negotiating, and I'm a bit surprised that you're not aware that I've seen letters between correspondence with Mark Curé and the council discussing it. So it's a bit disappointing that that has happened. But if we wait until they pay the payment plan before they build,
no, consecutively, concurrently, they pay bit at a time. You're going. Get the director.
just this may help explain it, Councillor Jamieson, is with what happens with the payment plan, we go into an agreement with them and we set the dates in which they pay. It could be 12 months, it could be 2 years, whatever we and them agree with, but they can continue to do the work on the property to finish the construction.
And just a further question on that, being pensioners, I think they're going to struggle. They've got basically pretty much all their savings into this, and they're pensioners. Let's be clear. How far can you defer it? What sort of repayment plan? Does it have to be 2 years? Are you talking about when they pass or when the property sells, or how far? Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Jamieson, we will do that in consultation with them, but we will give them over a certain amount of time. And yes, if they sell the property in the meantime, that would be something we'd have to try and put into the agreement. That makes it slightly more difficult. I will indicate they have always asked for the fee to be waived. They've not come to us to discuss a payment plan. So I guess that is why it hasn't been proposed to them. Okay, so it's not that it was something that we didn't think of, it's just something that we understood that's not what they wish to do. They wish to have the fee waived. It's not in my power or an officer's power to waive the fee. I'll also indicate we do not waive contributions fees because it does set a significant precedent. And as Councillor Mayor indicated, when the council adopted the contributions plan in December last year, they did give a discount, a 50% discount for secondary dwellings for this very purpose, that allowed families, if they were putting their relatives, their child into a secondary dwelling, it gave them it helped them in that space.
Thank you. And the question is that
Is this a question?
yeah, so if I'm understanding, is it a gap because we don't have disability housing? And I think that's what Catherine McMahon was saying in the second one, to sort of, yeah.
That is correct. I'll just indicate to the councillors, we follow the implementation of this plan to the T, right? Because this is one area that could be open to being inconsistent. All right, so when we have exemptions, the exemptions are very clearly identified by the Act. They're also identified, they're discussed with you and endorsed by council. But we do make it so we can regulate it. So with disabilities and under NDIS, I don't know enough about the program or the package to actually say how do we regulate it, but that's what our recommendation B is about, is to allow us to investigate if we are going to have it as an exemption. We have to be, as do you, have to be 100% clear that it's not going to be a rortable space. Okay, so that's what, you know.
What did you call that, sorry? Oh, what space?
Rortable space.
Okay. You don't have any more questions. The General Manager would like to address the Council.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just want to make it clear to Council that we do have a hardship policy, and we could contact these residents tomorrow and talk about the hardship provision. Now, within that hardship policy, it gives me the authority to approve any payment plan. It gives me the authority to not charge any interest on outstanding amounts. And, you know, I'm pretty confident we could come up with an agreement that that I think they probably could afford, but we'd have to discuss that with them to confirm that. If we couldn't, we'd come back to council with the outcome and let you guys know exactly where we're at with the situation.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? I wanted to.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there is. It's Catherine Lansbury here.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure how to phrase this. I've actually come back to life listening to this discussion. We had a motion on business paper to waive the 7-Eleven contribution. We had the speaker tonight who spoke very eloquently about the difficulties that she and her family have in affording this particular development for their son. We heard with the budget delivery last week that the NDIS has potentially going to be blowing out to $60-odd billion by 2030, and a lot of the commentary around that was that all three levels of government need to participate in this. This, for mine, is one way that we as Georges River could potentially participate in this by waiving fees in instances like this. This does not mean that we're opening the door to everybody who wants to renovate their garage to accommodate their disabled family, and God forbid that we are such a uncompassionate group of people that we were not moved by the speech that we heard from Mrs. Monroe tonight. Like, I'm sorry, it's really upsetting to me that we've gone down this road, that we're talking about deferring something for hardship when that was not the discussion. Our speaker came here tonight looking at this particular motion on the business paper where council was being requested to waive the fee, and now we're talking about it like this. So I don't know whether I'm speaking for it or against it, but I just have to put that on the record that I'm actually really disappointed that we're heading in this direction, and I would prefer that we just move the original motion in its current form. If people don't want to support it, don't do it. But for those of us who were happy to support it in its original form, could we maybe have the opportunity to do that, please?
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. I will talk to it now, talk against it. I'm not a heartless person. I'm actually very sympathetic, and on this planet, I've been there for a long time, and I've seen people suffer. And as a matter of fact, I've actually seen people, and I won't go into the details as to who they are, at least 3 people go through life, parents that have to deal with a child that needs extra care and extra assistance. Those 3 people that I know of, and I'm sure there are many more, are on the NDIS system. The NDIS system has provided them with some form of assistance which really does help them to a large degree. And I think that's fine. And I'm all for assisting these people, and I'm glad the government has come to terms with what the situation is. I understand that there are a lot of people that are going through life with this problem, but I also understand that we have a very responsible role with regards to Section 711 contributions. Let's be quite frank, councillors. If you read the report and if you read what the director has indicated to us, we have no vehicle to waiver this contribution. The only way we can deal with it is to do what Councillor Elmere does, and if they turn around and say, no, we want it totally taken away, then there's no option for us. No option at all. And from what I'm saying to you now, this waiver does open it up to rorts. Let me go and talk to these people that have got kids under the NDIS system. Let me go and tell them, guess what? All you have to do is scream blue murder or whatever you like to call it and say, I am really got problems. All these 3 people have got big backyards. All of them. So if they know all they have to do is have an NDIS package to put up a granny flat, which adds value to their property, which earns them an income in the future, then I have to say we've already set the precedent. The precedent is you'll be waived, just come up with your NDIS package. As I said, I'm not heartless. What I'm saying is there's a reality here. The system works. You open the floodgates and you waiver Section 711 contribution. Where does it stop? I want to build a dual occupancy for my kid. Oh, I'm sorry, but my kid doesn't like to live in the next house. They're going to live with us. The Section 11 contributions are waived. Where does it stop, councillors? I'm asking you that question. How do you want to deal with Section 711? I mean, are we going to have policy on the run? This is policy on the run. This is saying to the community, come to us and give us a plea bargain and we'll waiver it for you without looking at what it means in the long run to the council, without looking as to what the consequences are. And don't forget, You build a granny flat, that does add value to a home. You can earn income. And if the child doesn't like independently and moves back in, they can rent it out. Someone mentioned they can sell it. They can sell the house. So, councillors, I'm totally against it. I will support Councillor Almire's proposal, but nothing else. So, any more discussion on this? Councillor Marnie.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'm coming from the same place as, I guess, Councillor Lansbury on this. I worked in the disability sector for 10 years. I've seen people struggling, just trying to get along with life, basically, against a lot of handicaps. And yeah, I'm speaking from the heart. I'm not sure what the legalities are. I know you and the director have outlined them, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I think it's, I'll be voting in favour of it because.
Are you voting in favour of that?
Yeah, in favour of the original motion. Just because I think it's the right thing to do. Thanks.
Okay, well, okay, now we've got a situation where we've got an amendment moved by Councillor Almire, and those, sorry?
I didn't accept it.
You didn't accept it, okay. So it's not accepted. So, yeah, so you're putting it as an amendment?
Yes.
Seconder for the amendment? I'll second it. Now, we'll go down the table. All those in favour of Councillor Almire's say aye. 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 All those against?
Yes, yes, yes.
No.
Okay, we'll go around the table. I can't declare it yet because we need to know what everybody's voting. Sorry? Well, the amendment, yes. Well, let's see what the amendment is first because there's something. Oh no, you actually, yes, you didn't you didn't ask for a right of reply, but I'll let you have it. Yeah.
Can I just add something?
Mm.
Can I just suggest, Mr. Mayor, that in Councillor Almire's where it's got enter into a payment plan under council's hardship policy to allow the continuing construction of the granny flat, if I could just suggest
Just
that.
add that. Councillor Almire, you happy with that? I'll let you have your good right of reply.
With that amendment.
Sorry?
I would be happy with that amendment.
Included with, on
Yes,
top of yours.
as long as I can move, yeah.
So can we have a clear understanding
Mr.
what
Mayor,
the amendment is?
if I could make a suggestion, if Councillor Jamieson is happy with that amendment and the seconder, being Councillor Marnie, is satisfied with that amendment, then we can just vote on that motion then.
All right. Are you happy with that amendment, Councillor Marnie? Councillor Jamieson said she has.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those against say no. I declare it carried. I think we're now going to Councillor Paul.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I please have my name recorded against that? It's Catherine Lansbury.
Okay, thank you. Could we have that? The development of annual school safety review, Councillor Paul.
Yes, I move the motion as it's written.
Seconder, Councillor Moore. Yeah, I've got that. Councillor Moore.
Okay, thank you. So this motion is aimed at allowing council officers to develop a proactive program relating to traffic and infrastructure around schools. The program will aim to collect data regarding journeys to and from schools and to use that data to proactively identify requirements and improvements to traffic and transport around schools. This motion does not impact or change anything in relation to some of the other motions that remain in place for investigations around schools in Hurstville and Mater Dei and at Blakehurst, for example, but rather will enable council to be better placed to apply and hopefully be successful in receiving grants for some of the proactive works identified through the program. And as you can see from the director's comments in this report, council receives on average 5 requests a month from schools seeking support or solutions to deal with traffic and transport issues that impact their schools. So a school safety review program will allow council, schools and other stakeholders to be more proactive in finding and funding solutions to issues that are usually complex and require high levels of collaboration and funding. So I hope the council will support it. Thank you.
Mort, did you want to say anything? Yeah, thank you.
I think Councillor Boggs said everything that
Said
needs
it
to
all.
be said.
Anyone wanting to speak against? Anyone for? Well, I'll put it. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. Declare it carried unanimously. We're now going to the electric vehicle strategy. Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to move this motion. Is anyone going to second it?
Seconder, sorry. Seconded by Councillor. Sorry. No, actually, I'll take that back. I think he was trying to get his microphone to work. Seconded by Councillor Liu. Needs a charge. So, Councillor Konjowski. Councillor Konjowski.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
We've
you,
got to
Mr.
move
Mayor.
on to seconder.
Yes, I put up this motion in front of all the other councillors. I hope you can support this motion because I try to include 4 points into the motion, but not limited. Just at this moment, I'm considering that for important elements. Because we all know council plays a very critical role in supporting our community and the community of Eastern Harbour City to move towards electric vehicles. An electric vehicle strategy will ensure that our council plans and invest in line with to and are complementary to state and federal government and private investment into this transition. Apart from appreciate for the director to prepare the comments, apart from all the details on the paper printed, I just try to include a few more things. When we talk about the first point, encouraging new development through development control plan to reduce car dependence with the provision of EV sharing stations and green travel plans. I wanted to emphasize a few things, very details. While council's current DCP broadly encourage measures to reduce car dependency, including car share, bicycle parking, and associated end-of-trip infrastructure for certain development types, and reduce off-street parking requirements for locations near railway stations on private land. This is a continuing need to plan for population growth and technological change, such as the growth of EVs. I understand, although a targeted specialist investigation is key to assuring the most suitable interventions to reduce car dependence and to plan for the uptake of EVs, considering could include ensuring targeted types of new development provide sufficient infrastructure in the development to allow for the ready installation of car charging facilities in car park areas. And then with respect to green travel plan, identifying the type of use for which these are most effective and measures to inform of alternative transport options and encouraging to reduce use of private cars for transport. When we think about actively facilitate the installation of an EV charging network across the LGA, I'm thinking about this could be kick-started through the identification of current ownership and use trend and a forecast into high demand locations, creating a plan for infrastructure rollout and a funding model. And council currently, when we talk about transition of council's fleet and lease back vehicles to hybrid and eventually EV, council, according to the data I get from council, at the moment, council currently have 32 hybrid vehicles, making up 36 of the fleet, passengers fleet. As of February 2021, when a petrol or diesel passenger vehicle is replaced, a hybrid or EV is purchased. I understand heavy plant vehicles pose more of challenge is in stock is either prohibitive, expensive, or not available on the market. I understand this point. So that's why council needs to take advantage of opportunities to increase our EV infrastructure across our LGA. One current partnership, as I know, is the rollout of 6 EV charging stations by the company JOLT. This partnership uses off-grid infrastructure to power charging stations. Our strategy, I think, we are going to propose will allow council to take up more of these opportunities, as well as apply for targeted grants funding on offer from state and federal government. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillors, is there anyone that wants to speak against this? Anyone for? Councillor.
I just want to say, Councillor Wu, that's a fantastic and very innovative notice of motion. The EVs are obviously the way of the future, and this will lay the foundation for council going forward. The only problem is, anybody want to buy my V8s?
Thank you. Do we have any? Councillor Moore, yes.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say, as we do move forward, just one thing, just in general. I mean, this majority of people are, find problems. Then people aren't parking in garages that have all these units and stuff now. So where are they going to charge their cars and whatnot? And I know we are going to move forward, but there's going to be major issues if more and more people move towards the electric vehicles. Thank you.
I tend to understand what you're saying there. Very few are actually going to buy electric vehicles unless we've got more stations and more places to actually. And the other thing is waiting 3 hours for a charge. Sorry?
There are different types of charges, some of which are only 15 minutes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, we'll discuss this later. I'll put this. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I declare it carried. Okay. Now we've got just questions on notice. There are 2 questions on notice. If the people that put, or the councillors that put those questions on notice have further questions, I'm happy to take. Councillor Moe, do you have any further questions?
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to thank all councillors for constantly supporting the acquisition of Glenlee. I think we've had motions almost every month about Glenlee, and they will be unanimous, as they were in the last council, so I really appreciate that, as does the community. And thanks to the director for being so proactive on this and bringing out the information on Glenlee too, because the community is quite.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Well, with our last item which we had has been removed, and we'll discuss this some other time. I don't think there's anything else. Well, as there's nothing else, I'm delighted to tell you that the meeting closed at 9:30. Even with the mayoral hour. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, everyone that's listening. Good night. Good night. Good luck.